right, my last example with 6.3 is going to be solving trig equations that require a little factoring. So just as a nice little reminder, remember back when we had quadratic equations, we could solve this using factoring. So I would just go ahead and factor the left-hand side, and then we can use the zero product property, because if I have something times something else and the product's supposed to be equal to 0, well, that means that either that 2x plus 1 equals 0, or maybe x plus 1 equals 0, or maybe both, okay? And then you would just solve this for x, obviously, okay? So it's going to be the same exact idea. All right, we would have those as our answers. It's going to be the same idea, but now instead of x's, we're dealing with sine thetas. Okay, but same idea, we're going to go ahead and factor those. So I've got factoring, I've got 2 sine theta plus 1 times sine theta plus 1 equals 0. And then use the zero product property. 2 sine theta plus 1 equals 0, or maybe sine theta plus 1 equals 0. And I'll go ahead and do this one first because it's easier. So sine theta equals -1, and that happens once, and that is when theta is 3 pi over 2. So there's one solution. And now let's look at this one. I'm going to go ahead and solve. Isolate that trig function. So 2 sine theta equals -1, and then dividing by 2, we would get sine theta equals -1/2. And let's look at our unit circle. We get an output for sine that's negative down there in quadrants 3 and 4, and we get a -1/2 when we have a theta of 7 pi over 6 and also at 11 pi over 6. Okay, and so those are done. There's our answers. We got 3 different thetas that if you plug this into this original equation and run it through, we would get an output of 0. Okay, so that is done.